Well, we all know at this point, Deshaun Watson's season ended in injury against the Bengals this weekend where he would tear his Achilles, and we all know Deshaun Watson has not been playing that well, but the city of Cleveland really knows that fact firsthand.
Unbelievable scene. Deshaun Watson carted off the field. This was seconds ago. Players from both teams giving him words of encouragement.
Yes, they were cheering, "You deserve it," at the fact that Deshaun Watson is no longer going to be the starting QB in town. Now, I don't believe you should cheer just because someone else is injured, no matter whether you like that person or not. And I'm going to talk about that in much more detail a little bit later on in this video. But you know that fans and the internet is ruthless. And it's crazy because Nick Chubb just returned from his horrific injury, and now Deshaun Watson has suffered an injury of his own. But we could have seen something like this coming along the lines, because if you look at how Nick Chubb was introduced in the game, and then you look at how people reacted when they said Deshaun Watson's name as he entered the game. These are two totally different reactions, and we all know the Cleveland Browns season has not been going well, and we're going to talk about that in this video. But before we get into that, don't forget to like, comment, and also subscribe to the channel. We are on our way to 3,000 subscribers. Hit that like button and comment down your opinions on this situation, because this is one of those topics that I think a lot of people can add valuable intel into this situation. And secondly, I want to see what the other people are thinking before we take a deep dive. The Browns players thinking they're going to get me mustering up any type of sympathy for Deshaun Watson is a wild reality. Another person right here says, "I hated the Deshaun Watson trade from the beginning and haven't wore any Browns gear since then. 100% I cheered after the injury. Watson is a horrible person that should be in prison." Now, deciphering those two comments, we can tell that they do not care about Deshaun Watson at all. And I don't necessarily believe that you should be forced to feel sympathy for anybody, but at the same time, just me personally, I won't wish bad on people, even if I don't necessarily care about that person, because it could be somebody wishing bad on me, and I don't like to carry that type of negative energy around me. But that's just me. All right, this guy right here says, "Cheering for a significant injury is bad. Also, coming up with claiming he was a role model like some players did is as bad as it gets." That's kind of piggybacking on what I just said. Let's go with this one right here. "Most Browns fans by far were not classless. Decent and loyal Cleveland Brown fans, and there are a huge number of them, do not deserve to be smeared by Browns players or by Stephen A. or Shannon Sharp. Brown fans are understandably beyond frustrated with the disastrous mismanagement and misallocation of salary money, as well as the ruining of a team that has been on the rise 3 years ago. But the vast majority of Browns fans did not respond classless to this incident. Let's get that straight right now." And I will say, the thing about a game, the thing about a fan base, each and every single fan base is going to have people that do things that other fans do not agree with, and that's just how it is. You are at these games, people are drunk, people are going to do whatever, say whatever, and act in manners that are not necessarily reflective of how you may feel as a fan of that same team. And we're going to get into what some of the players and what a few commentators said a little bit later, but let's rewind here and see how exactly we got in this position in the first place. 3 first-round picks for a QB in Deshaun Watson, who had not played football competitively in 2 years at that point. Now, if we re-look at this trade, the Texans got a huge return, because those picks could have easily been guys who did not pan out, weren't good, and didn't play at all. But if you look at this, the Deshaun Watson trade details, the Browns got, of course, Deshaun Watson and a 2024 6th-round pick that was used to get Jerry Jeudy. Now, if you look at what the Texans got, offensive guard Keon Green, running back Damian Pierce, DN Will Anderson Jr., who is playing well, wide receiver Tank Dell, who is playing well, cornerback Kamari, linebacker Jamal Hill, as well as a safety by the name of Kalen Bullock. The trade went through. The Browns agreed to pay Watson $230 million guaranteed through 2026, but Watson would not see the field initially due to the numerous allegations filed against him. The NFL and Watson agreed on an 11-game suspension and a $5 million fine, along with mandatory counseling. He would make his debut in Week 13. In the 6 games he played, he had 1,102 passing yards with a 58.2% completion rate, with 7 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. A lot of people chunked this up to being rusty. He had not played in a while, and so that was not out of the realm of possibility. It had been almost 3 3 years at that point since he played actual football. So we go into 2023, the year he missed 2 games earlier in that season. On top of that, he will go on to fracture his shoulder, which would end his season in week number 9. The Browns went 5-1 in the starts, but this was really due to the fact that they had a pretty good defense that year. He finished with a total of 1,151 yards, 7 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions on 61% passing with a QBR of 43.7. So that's another year of him not playing a lot of football. He did not finish the year out entirely. The team will go on to allow Joe Flacco to take the helm, where he played actually pretty well. The offense looked a lot better. He would lead that team to the playoffs. And so a lot of people started to question, is Deshaun Watson actually going to be able to become that player that he was in Houston once again? A lot of people weren't sure, and a lot of people were already done with them. So now we fast forward to today's time. It gets even worse for Watson and the Browns. They aren't doing that good. They only have 1 win, and that's against the Jaguars. So they have a record of 1-6 and a hard to win in AFC. And in the last game, Watson would suffer a season-ending injury. And many Cleveland fans are looking at this as their way of saying they are finally done with Deshaun Watson because he wasn't playing that good. But I could never cheer for an injury. The Browns should have honestly benched Deshaun Watson for his own sake, and maybe he'll still be standing. His play was bad. He wasn't going to get any better. And this time around, with him missing more time, he is probably going to get even worse. A lot of people will look at what he was accused of as a reason to cheer, but I would say this: as a person who believes that the energy you project is the energy you will receive, I'm not going to cheer for a man in his worst moment, even if I thought I had a reason to, because I don't want the same thing to happen to me in my worst moments or in my downtime. Because I feel like if I start wishing for bad things to happen to somebody, no matter what they did, something bad may end up happening to me. So I try to wish good on everybody and then let the good Lord handle the people that need to be handled. And even though these situations are completely different, this kind of reminds me of when the Colts booed Andrew Luck for retiring. I am a Colts fan, and in my mind, when it happened, I thought to myself, like, why are y'all booing a man who is putting his health first? Now, I understand we want him to throw TDs, but I'm pretty sure he's happy with the way things are playing out. He was tired of getting hurt, and if you have ever played sports, you understand how hard it is to actually walk away from something that you have loved for a long time. And this also goes to show you I disagree with that. A lot of people were booing him at that time, but everybody did not condone that booing of Andrew Luck. I'm a huge Colts fan. I did not like what I heard and what I saw that day. Was I sad that he was going to be gone? Yes, because he was the quarterback for the future, and now we ain't got, well, Anthony Richardson. I'm gonna give you time, but right now we ain't got the guy. Hopefully Anthony Richardson turns into that guy. But either way, let's look at what some of the teammates of Deshaun Watson had to say.
Whether it's an opponent that goes down or one of our own, we don't boo guys that are injured on the field, especially, you know, with the extent where the card comes out. And we should be ashamed of ourselves, you know, as Browns and as fans to boo anyone and their downfall.
I was taught to love no matter the circumstances, especially for people who do right by you. I'm grateful that I had a chance to serve Deshaun, but I am very upset with the reaction to a man that has had the world against him for the past 4 years, and he put his body and life on the line for this city every single day, regardless of your perception, regardless of what you thought should happen with him. He committed every single day that I've been here to be the best that he can be for this team. And I know I come from the deep South, Birmingham, Alabama, Bessemer, Alabama. So I know the standard that hungry fans want. But the way I was raised, I will never pull on a man when he's down. But I will be the person to lift him up. And that, all of us have unique experiences. All of us have circumstances, conditions, and facts that we face every single day. And I pride myself in being a man of increase and being a man that wants the best out of everybody. I tell myself every morning what I want for myself, I want for everyone. And I do not want the treatment that Deshaun Watson has received from these passionate fans. I know you love this game. when I first got here, I knew these were some amazing fans. But Deshaun was treated badly. And now he has to overcome another obstacle.
Everybody needs a teammate like Jameis Winston. He will defend you whether he think you're right or wrong, I think. That's just how it looks. And he always is super serious in these conversations, but you can't help but to kind of laugh just a little bit because you know who he is. You know that guy who can be serious, but he's always clowning in class. And so when he does get serious, it just still doesn't seem as serious. But oddly enough, I think Skip Bayless has the opinion of a lot of people right now. I'm going to play his clip as well.
You will never, ever hear me wish injury upon anybody. That's just bad karma. I feel sorry for anybody who gets injured, even Deshaun Watson. I used to be the biggest Deshaun Watson fan until it began to come out and come out and come out. What he did to so many accusers, it was just so relentlessly wrong and so bad that I had a hard time dredging up any sympathy for Deshaun as he became a psychological wreck of a quarterback in Cleveland. And now, honestly, it's just hard to dredge up a whole lot of sympathy for what sounds like an Achilles tear. I'm not saying I'm celebrating Deshaun's injury, but I'm not sympathizing a whole lot about it either.
And with that, let's get back to football. With Watson out and assuming it isn't going to get much better for the Cleveland Browns, they will more than likely be in the QB sweepstakes at the end of the season, drafting Watson's replacement in the draft. Before the end of the season, he had 1,148 yards, 5 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions with a QBR of 23.4, which ranks 31st in the NFL. And with this injury, it looks like his time in Cleveland is more than likely over. But you never know because we are talking about Cleveland. The owner is stubborn because they pay him all that money. And I do want to give you guys an outlook for the future though. If you are a Cleveland Browns fan, what should you do next? What quarterback should you be looking at? And in my personal opinion, I think it's a 2 quarterback race right now for who should be the #1 overall pick. Assuming that y'all get that top pick right now, in my personal opinion, is Shedeur Sanders and Cam Ward. That's it. Anybody else you can put in tier 2, I think those are going to be the guys that people need to look out for. You can look at a Quinn Ewers. He never stays healthy though. He didn't have his best game against Georgia though, but at the same time, he has shined in big games before, so I'm not going to hold that against him. I will say though, he will be your quarterback. Just don't be surprised if he gets hurt. Carson Beck and Jalen Milroe kind of in the same boat right now. Jalen Milroe started out super strong, is dipping right now. Carson Beck did not start out the greatest, but last year was pretty good, but right now he is turnover prone. And the rest of these guys, I'm not exactly sure about. Dylan Gabriel, how big is Dylan Gabriel actually? Like, is he tall or not? I'm not sure. I haven't really been able to watch a lot of Oregon or LSU. I have watched a lot of Georgia, Miami, Texas, and Colorado. I love seeing those teams play. Alabama is my team. Y'all know how that goes. But at the same time, I'm going to be looking more into it a little bit later on in the future. But Cleveland, better days are probably going to be coming for you if you can find the right guy in the draft. And it's just that simple. If you find the right QB, he'll take you a long way. You see what happens when you do that. But with all that being said, don't forget to like, comment, and also subscribe. And I'll see you in the next video.